Story 1. According to a story my mother told me when I was just a baby, one night I was fussing a lot, prompting my mother to come check on me in my cradle several times. After a few visits to my room, my mother became quite exhausted. When I started crying again, she was about to get up to come to my room, but she heard other footsteps and panicked because she was alone there. When the footsteps ceased, my mother heard the sounds of the cradle rocking and the voice of an elderly woman. This voice was trying to comfort me and calm me down. It was very strange. My mother told me that she was deeply frightened by what happened in the room that night. When the footsteps stopped, the sounds of the cradle rocking and the voice of the elderly woman continued to echo in her ears. The elderly woman began humming an old lullaby that was used during my infancy. "Sleep, my child, sleep, night has come, the dream has begun. May the angels protect you, sleep, my child, comforted in my arms." At first, my mother was frozen upon hearing this voice. However, after a short while, she decided to walk towards the cradle. As she approached, the direction from which the voice was coming became clearer. Next to my cradle, the figure of an elderly woman appeared, dressed in an old-fashioned dress with a graceful face and silver hair. The woman's eyes were filled with age, yet equally peaceful. Ignoring my mother's anxious gaze, the woman continued her lullaby. My mother slowly approached the cradle but hesitated to touch the woman. When she noticed how harmless the woman appeared, she cautiously asked, "Who are you? What are you doing with my baby?" The elderly woman turned her eyes to my mother and smiled gently. "I am a woman who lived in this house and sang this lullaby for you," she said. "I remember that night when you were fussing. I just wanted to soothe her." Listening to the woman's words, my mother felt a mix of emotions. However, she instinctively felt trust towards this elderly woman. "Thank you," she said in a trembling voice. "Please continue to comfort my baby." That night, when my mother returned to her bed and fell asleep, the elderly woman who appeared next to the cradle gently put me to sleep. The next morning, when my mother shared the story with her husband, they both decided to keep this incident a secret. However, since that day, this event that remained a secret between my mother and me became a part of our family, always remaining a memory that brought us comfort and reassurance. Story 2. In a small-town tale, strange events were unfolding in an old mansion. The townspeople believed the house was cursed and stayed away. However, a young couple named Emily and Jack decided to restore and live in the house. Initially, everything seemed fine, but one night while Emily was alone with her baby in a room, she began to hear strange noises. An elderly woman figure appeared beside her baby, with a pale face and blood-red eyes. The woman whispered sinisterly, "My little princess, I will stay with you here." Terrified, Emily tried to leave the room, but the door was locked and the windows began to shatter. As Jack tried to go upstairs, the elderly woman appeared in front of him, casting a spell that left him motionless on the floor. Desperately, Emily took her baby and hid in the farthest corner of the house, but the elderly woman found her, surrounded by an array of ghosts appearing in the darkness. Emily tried to fend them off to protect her baby, but grew weaker with each attempt. Just when all hope seemed lost, the town's elderly healer, Nora, appeared. Nora began performing an ancient spell to break the curse of the elderly woman. In the midst of it, Jack broke free from the spell's grasp and rushed to help Emily. Nora's spell temporarily drove away the elderly woman and her ghosts. However, the townspeople said the curse on the mansion could not be broken. Emily and Jack decided to continue living in the house, now intertwined with its haunting tales and curses. A few years later, Emily and Jack turned their experiences into a book, becoming a legend in the town. They wouldn't leave the mansion, but the events became even more complex for them. The complete breakage of the curse remained elusive. Determined, Emily and Jack began researching the origins of the curse and how to finally break it.